HR can be a powerful partner and enabler during an agile transformation, an ally on your journey towards agile. Today's guest speaker is the fabulous Frida Mangen. Frida's passion revolves around HR, agile, and driving positive change in organizations. She works as a consultant in Stockholm, Sweden. This is the first of two talks. This one will focus on how HR can support an agile transformation. In the next episode, Frida will explore how HR can apply agile to their own ways of working. Frida hosts the amazing The Agile HR Pod. If you understand Swedish, make sure to check it out. Before we start, thank you, my amazing Patreons, for your support. You are truly the best. If you want to, you are most welcome to join our community. And now, Frida, take it away.
Thank you, Jimmy. So nice to be here. So let's dig into what role HR has in an organization that starts to work agile. But first, let's start asking ourselves, why agile? Far too often I see companies and departments starting to work agile without really knowing why. Agile has become a buzzword and like a magic pill that is expected to solve all the world's problems. But I'm sorry to say that's just an illusion. I think it's important to consider what ethic we are aiming for. Agile is a mindset with a toolbox with different working methods, principles, and methods. So once we know what ethic we are aiming for, we can start to testing, experimenting, and learn to try to reach that effect. So for me, Agile is not the goal itself. Agile is an enabler. So what we often see is that Agile have moved out from being something that only the IT department is doing to including the entire organization. So business agility is something that is on most strategic agendas of companies around the world today. Why? We live in a context that is fast changing, complex, and volatile. So our organizations need to listen to the end users' need and adapt to them, and also the changes and the market and environment in general. Therefore, we need to constantly learn and adapt to survive. I would say that we are in the middle of a paradigm shift. All parts of the organization need to modernize, innovate, and focus on delivering value to adapt and keep this pace. What I see is a clash between the old way of working and the new way of working. The world around us is changing faster than us, our brains, and our organizations. So many experience that they are losing control. Naturally, we try to get grip of the situation. Often we do it by adding more control, like regulations, policies, rules, government documents, etc. This is usually called the strategic slip. We are getting further away from the reality and our organizations turn to turtles. We become slow and it's hard to catch the opportunities and change directions. New players enter the market and they become leopards. They're running ahead and maybe in a completely different direction. I also see this happening internally when some parts of the organization start to work agile and others don't. It becomes a clash between the leopards and the turtles. So HR play an important role here. Our processes and working methods fundamentally affect the culture, how we work, and what we value. The static HR processes build on best practices such as annual HR year with performance appraisals, job description, development talks, etc., often fail to meet the need of fluent and rapidly change. So we at HR either become bottlenecks or enabler when it comes to Agile. So therefore, HR needs to catch up and understand what Agile is all about. And how they can contribute to help the organization in order to transform. Agile HR can be divided into two parts. Agile for HR, that's how we start to experiment and work with Agile methods and mindset within the Agile department. HR for Agile is how we support an organization that already works Agile. In this session, I will focus on HR for Agile. We will look into how we can design modern workplaces by combining all our previous know-how and law and regulations with the agile way of working and thinking. So most important, there are no recipes or best practices. Agile is a mindset and a way of thinking. So we at HR, we need to get out of the trap of buzzwords and trends. We need to redesign our HR processes with the user and the customer, our employees, in focus. We need to ask ourselves the question on how our processes enable our employees to deliver customer value to the end user. We need to create these prerequisites and become a catalyst that facilitate and co-create a culture together with the organization that focus on learning, innovation, collaboration, motivation, and commitment. These are key dynamics that have to be fulfilled to become leopards. So let me give you some examples on how. To start with, learn the lingo. The Agile community has a lot of abbreviations. Do not be afraid. It's much easier than you think. Make sure to learn the basics of what Agile is so you can speak the same language. This is how you can provide your expertise and view on things. Remember that your voice is important. Embrace the mindset. As I said earlier, Agile is a mindset with a toolbox. Start to consider what outcome you are aiming for and embrace the mindset. And then you can start to experiment and try different tools, working methods, etc. There are 4 pillars in the Agile mindset. The first one is about making people awesome. Most employees are already fantastic and want to do a good job. So find out what's hindering them from doing a good job and remove the blockers. One common bottleneck is artificial culture. We say that we value something, but our processes and what we do are contrary. So I will give you an example. We say that we value collaboration, but we only measure performance on an individual level. So we as HR can help out by redesigning our traditional processes so they align with what we want and what we're aiming for. Secondly, and maybe also the most important one, is psychological safety. Psychological safety is about a feeling that we can show and employ ourselves without fear of negative consequences. That we feel that we are comfortable to raise our concerns, questions, ideas, and mistakes. So we will not innovate or learn new or raise concerns if there is a fear of not doing the right thing or a concern of being uncomfortable as a person. So psychological safety is like the foundation for the organization, the platform to build on. It doesn't matter how much effort we put on building the walls or the ceiling if you not have a stable platform. The third pillar is customer value. We at HR often have far too much on our agendas, strategic work combined with operational and reactive work. It often feels like we're one step behind, and it's difficult to know what actually creates value to the organization. A good way is to start to visualize the work. Use a whiteboard, digitally or physically, doesn't matter. Visualizing work helps to facilitate a transparent and open way of working where HR can invite stakeholders and users, employees. Of course, some info need to be confidential regarding to laws and regulations, but this can be solved with, for example, color coding. By visualizing the work and with feedback from the organization, we can start to prioritize from what adding most value to the organization. Of course, we need to take in consideration that some tasks need to be given priority regarding to laws and regulation. A whiteboard can help us to get a common ground, also to pause tasks, reprioritize, and it also makes it easier to collaborate and help each other. So we want to do fewer things at the same time. That's how we get a better flow and create value in a faster pace. Also, people who feel good about work and have a sustainable pace create better products and more value in the long run. The third pillar is about experiment and learn quickly. We want to move away from waterfall projects with bing bang deliveries to work in short loops and feedbacks where we're continuously adding value to the organization. So when we deliver HR products, we can start to think more like a scientist. By co-create and invite people from the organization, we can collect feedback. Then we can make assumptions and build hypotheses and prototypes. Then we test them by collecting data and listen to feedback. And then we start over again. So we want to sense, act, and respond in shorter loops. Last but not least, have fun. When we experience something like pleasurable and fun, we are more reached to try it again. Contrary, if we experience something unpleasant, we will avoid it. So remember, Agile isn't that complicated. Have fun. Also, think big and start small, do mistakes and start over again. And remember that HR has a crucial role when it comes to transform Agile organizations.
Thank you so much, Frida, for taking the time to join the show. And yeah, it's an honor to have you here. I have a few follow-up questions, if that's okay.
Of course.
The first one, what triggered your passion or interest about HR and Agile? So you're, for example, doing this podcast, 60 plus episodes, and you're joining the show here, and I know you do trainings and courses and whatnot, and you consult. So what triggered your passion in the first place?
I've always been passionate about people in general and how they can help organization to succeed, because like an organization is a bunch of people, and that's how it is. So that was what triggered me to start to study HR from the very beginning. And then when I entered the market and start work, I realized that okay, I won't work with people. It's more like being like an organization's police, writing policies and documents and things like that. So I was really thinking like, okay, am I doing the right thing, or do I have to like change career? And then I started to work within IT, and I met the Agile teams, and I was like, hey, this is a great thing. This is what I really believe in. This is like my inner motivation. So why can't we start to work like Agile in the full organization, on the entire organization? So this was quite early. No one was talking about business agility at this time. So I started to experiment. So that was how it all started. And with my podcast, it ended up that I thought like, okay, when I was HR manager at the IT consulting company, and I was so into the bubble when I was working there. But when I came out from that bubble, I realized that okay, it's still so. Do you say polarized? Like on the like HR are here and the organization are there, and they are doing this like blame game. So Agile isn't that complicated, and I believe that many HR people really want to work like this, and that they have the same passion as I do. So that's what's triggered me to start to podcast, and because I wanted to learn more myself, but also share thoughts and also with the others. So I'm not the expert in my podcast. I do like you do. You know, I invite different smart people to come and talk.
And today you are the smart people. And of course, we'll have the link to the podcast below, and it's in Swedish. So sorry. So take a class in Swedish if you want to listen to that one. But it's brilliant. Next question. So when you do, you work as a consultant, right? So I guess you meet a lot of HR teams or departments. So when you talk about these ideas and you try to help them, which of these ideas stick easy and which are hard for them to grasp or embrace?
In general, it's not only HR. I would say people easily grasp the methods and like the tools, but they forget about the mindset. It's harder to get a grip of the mindset because it's invisible. You can't like say, okay, I'm done. I have been working with the mindset now. It's easier to say like, oh, we have been starting to work with a Kanban board, or we do a daily meeting, or we have been running a retrospective. And so I believe that you also meet these all
Yes.
struggle with this.
Yes, I do. I loved you mentioned a few clever phrases. So you had the comparison between turtles and leopards, and you also mentioned artificial culture. So can you give an example of where the HR team themselves managed to flip from being turtles, kind of the HR turtle team, to the HR leopard team by changing some aspect of this artificial culture?
Yeah, I believe we need to go out and talk with the organization to really understand the need and how we can enable like agility. Often we sit on our departments and we have a lot of great ideas, and there is a lot of trends within HR, and we try them out and we think that we're so ahead, but we have to take one step back and start to like, okay, go out in the organization, do the go to Gemba and start to really understand the need and how we can enable and help the organization to become agile.
Thank you. Anything you would like to say or add to?
No, I think we have to help out each other and stop do the blame game. It's not that complicated, and when you start to work cross-functional and when you start to have fun and you do it together, that's how you like transform and how you can meet the need of agility on the market.
Thank you, Frida, for taking the time. And there's going to be a follow-up episode on this one too, right? So, yay! So I'll see you soon again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. What stories and examples do you have? How can HR be an ally and enabler in an agile transformation? Please share and discuss in the comments below. Oh, and don't miss the follow-up episode with Frida coming soon. Agile for HR. If you want to support my work of creating free educational videos here on YouTube, like this one and these ones, please consider becoming a Patreon. See you soon again, and until then, explore, have fun, and be safe.